if you use the open claw, either your personal or enterprise, you put the hacker in your skin already. So you have to beware.
Within 1 hour, they trick that AI to transfer all of their 20,000 K worth, USD worth of meme coin of Bitcoin out of their pockets. I want to shut you down, and there are some force back, some resistance from the AI that trying to please you and change your mind to not shutting them down, that sort of thing.
How do you ensure that these agents stay under control, and what kind of measures that you would take in order to having a kill switch to make sure that they are not going to be, doing something that it's not supposed to do?
In this session, we will bring you deeper in one key question: how to move from ideas to executions, from experimentation to the real business impact.
Today, we're gonna discuss about the topic of the AI. Like, if you could imagine, what if AI could not only answer your questions, but also help you do things that is actually as your task is completing some, actions that you might never have never imagined before, as if like you have an assistant 24/7, right? So what would you be willing to let the AI, mess with your data and let it do things for you, right? So today I have invited 4 experts to explore it together, right? So how to make such a hands-on AI both powerful and safe. So first, I will let our guests to introduce themselves, please.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. So I'm Vipop. I'm taking care like part of the Chief Technology Officer. So I'm taking care of the AI go-to-market. And actually, I have experience in developing like the AI assistant and AI agent for enterprise, both financial service in banking and insurance, and retail in the production mode now already. Yeah.
Please. Would you mind introduce yourself to the audience a little bit?
Okay, I come from the Trust Division.
Okay.
Our company actually is doing the fraud risk management, and we cover all the APAC region, also the South Asia, and also Middle East.
Right. My name is Sutipong, and we are doing Agentic AI and data security with Huawei for I think it's our 4th year now with Huawei at the moment. So that's what we excel at, right? Our clients actually consist of from many different. We have financial institutions, space as our client. We have retails as our clients, and governments as well. So.
Okay, so the last one.
Thank you for inviting us to this event. A very, very big new idea is coming today. So my name is วรเทพ ว่องธนาการ Actually, I have the Chinese name. It's Wang Jingtong.
Oh.
But I'm coming from Yibin Soy. Yibin Soy we celebrate our 100 years by this May. So please be invited to join us for 100 years. And my name is วรเทพ ว่องธนาการ again. I'm taking care of the cyber security network and cyber security solution, providing the system and the service to most of the large enterprise company here in Thailand. Banking, retail, healthcare, education, everywhere for the large enterprise. And we are quite working on the specifically on the cyber security. So it's a bit different from others. Other is most of the guy here is working on the performance. We working on the risk. There is a short description for me.
Okay, so it doesn't matter because today our hot topic is going to be about AI, right? So in terms of security, you can also,
I know.
giving the inputs in that perspective as well. Now, I would like to ask you all the first questions. If your company could deploy an AI assistant who can actually do things for you, right? What kind of tasks that you are willing to let it do for you? What kind of tasks that you think it can help you to automate things, right? So.
Okay, so actually from our company now, we call it like the client zero. So what that means is like we start like adopt agent in our organization into all the process, sales to operations. Example, like because we are like consulting, right? Since like the client asking us to like send us like the RFP, how we analyze the RFP, how we define the risks, we also need a kind of the AI to help us. Or even like in terms of like the back end from the, because we work with partner, example, like work with Huawei, right? There are a lot of documentation, right? For the partner onboarding, that kind of thing, and the benefits. That's why we also have the AI agent to help us to foresee the risks actually, and to help us to analyze in high level to our team to read through in the second step. So I would say like in our, as I think all companies, it could happen in all use cases, the full value chain, from sales to operations. But it depends on what kind of like your pain point, what kind of like, this role it doesn't have the people now, and we need to be more advanced. So I think we can adopt the whole chain, but it depends on your business type, on your organization structure. That will be AI agent will be able to automate and help and also disrupt your team.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So please, Henry.
Okay, actually at Trust Station, our solution actually use a lot of AI capability to empower the current functional.
Okay.
But for your question, I think I talk personally.
Yes.
Except the customer solution, our solution, maybe I'll talk about it later. But for myself, I think the most important thing can help really assist me the daily job, like booking the meeting room, arrange the session with the customer, and also arrange my travel. Because it's a very time consuming for me.
So you're actually using it for your travel plan?
I do use it to do something, but it still not get my expectation.
Okay. So.
Right. I think to give you the short answer is I want them to do everything because now we don't have that much time, during the day to do things that, requires a lot of our attentions at the moment. So, but the long answer is, one of the things that keep me up the most is replying the email, right? So in the morning, I have to wake up early in the morning and I try to get through all the email as fast as possible before going to work, and that's not enough time, right? And that basically I think it is more of a generic use cases, right? But we also as
คุณวิภพ
say that now I think every company is doing the agentic AI and try to introduce the agent into their workplaces, right? And we have our own. We have a couple of them, and one of the internal AI agent that we are experiencing with is the we call it the proposal AI. So we try to once we got the IFP or IFI, the AI will read the whole documents and compare that, to our solutions and try to write up all of the proposal, before we have the human to get in and verify and that sort of thing. And we use that a lot at the moment. That's. I think I gave you this answer for this round first, right?
For me, the coming artificial intelligence is coming, I think that more than 10 years, maybe 15 years already, But right now, I changed the word a little bit. We switch from AI to IA. We call it the intelligent assistant because of the agentic is coming, especially for the open claw. So after open claw is coming, this assistant helped me a lot. Usually I woke up at 4:30 to read the email through more than 300 email a day because of many incidents coming into our email. So it's very hard to skip all those emails because every customer is very important. So that's why we use the assistant like OpenClaw to read through all email, make a conclusion, and what happened to our customer, what is the risk of each event, and we have to prioritize the work day by day because I'm working on cybersecurity. In our company, also have a very small agentic AI. We call it Elena. We have to name it, otherwise we don't know. We call it agentic AI. We call in the company we call it Elena. Elena help us to find the people. Usually, when we want to find the people, we have to open the phone book or we have to open the contact. But now we can ask them directly, what is his phone number? Do they have any calendar available for next 3 days, something like that. This is very simple question that I can ask directly into the model.
I see. So there are many use cases that everyone here has shared, and I think one of the things that is catching my interest is Kun Sudipong that saying that in the morning if he wishes is gonna be he wakes up in the morning and then the AI is just summarize all the emails and then making sure that all the emails are read and then he is ready to go on to work as usual. Now, tell me more about that, Kun Sudipong. Because at this stage, right? At this stage, to summarize the email, it is possible with a normal generative AIs. What's more that you think it can be, leveraging the agentic capabilities part?
Right. I think we coming from the past that we have to do the labor manual works a lot in the company, right? So I think for the questions that which of the tasks that can be made into AI, I think every task can be made of AI. But the thing is, the email example, we do have the summarizations of the AI to summarize the content of the email for us, but it's not yet act for us, regarding reply of the contents or sending, which message to which person. That is not yet coming at the moment. But I think we are moving into that space. But we have to be sure that the AI can think for themselves without hallucination first. And now we're trying to make that fewer and fewer into the AI model. So I think that probably be my answer.
Okay. So because everyone here has been using AI as well, right? So I guess you might have heard that OpenClaw, it just got banned from Google using the OAuth, right? So the way that you basically use AI today is either you subscribe for a monthly paying bill or you using it through APIs, right? Which is paid by tokens, right? So by having that kind of banning, it means that you have to take care of yourself when you're using this AI, right? Because the more token you are using is the more money you're spending, right? So what's your view in terms of the cost efficiencies and business compliance if you have to deploy an actual OpenClaw for your enterprises, right? How would you try to balance the token consumptions and the subscription costs? And would there be any real case that you can share?
So I think this one is it may not just only OpenClaw because I'm implementing with many use cases in organizations, and actually it's back to the use case first. What kind of use case that you are looking for? Example, some of the company asking us for HR for CV screening, and the key thing is they have only True Recruiter now, and then what they expect, they said reduce cost, and they said, oh, that is not valid anymore. Right? But if you say you have 10,000 CV per day and you have only 3 recruiter, and that's one, right? We have to calculate in terms of the assumption of the token utilization for that use case base, return to ROI. That is the first thing that everyone needs to think about that because that is the operation cost that always there. The second thing is how we control the token Actually, now I think it has many tools that you can setting up like the limits token per model. And another things as IT, you have to decide like some agent, right? If you have like for that flow, you have design example 5 sub agents in that use case. You can say like 3 of the sub use case, sub agents. You can use open source LLM and using like a small model. Example, like you just need some like translation or summarization. That's when you don't need to subscribe to the big model to pay it, right? But that when you just provision VM and then just deploy LLM, that is fine. But for some use case, you need more deep reasoning. You need more idea. That's when you can pay for the paid token, right? So I think that's one is kind of the first thing is like use in summary, like the first thing use case and business benefits that should be identified. The second thing you have to set up like the governance and architecture design to ensure that it's not over architect, right? And if you go with 2 things, you will be able to control costs at the end of the state of the agent when you're running in organization.
Okay, anyone want to add some more?
For me, very short one. If you use the open claw, either your personal or enterprise, you put the hacker in your skin already. So you have to beware.
Okay, so.
For me, I think when we talk about OpenClaw, right, now there are a lot of hypes behind it, but the problems with OpenClaw is because their model is coming from, that used to be called callbots. And callbots is having one of the very notorious security breach in, baked into their applications, if you will, right? So I think that is one of the problems that we already have and we already see at the moment. And I think there are a very large scale attacks into OpenClaw, and that is the danger of using this kind of technology. And because of OpenClaw demand a very very large context window. A bit of the technical terms in the agentic AI space, but meanings that every time they want to execute a task, they need to send a lot of words, a lot of tokens to the AI, right, to keep their ability to execute something, right? So that's require a huge amount of money and cost. So at the moment, after this, I want to talk to you about how do you to keep the cost low in terms of using the OpenClaw in Yipin at the moment.
Yes. Okay. Would you like to add some more?
So let me share our practice for the Agentic AI in trust decision. To make it simple, we don't use Agentic AI everywhere. Only where can truly add value. So first, internally we have a very clear definition for the Agentic AI boundary. Okay, for the very frequency and very well-established workflow in our sector, like the intelligent decision making real time, these kind of tasks, we still rely on the rule engine and the machine learning model. But we only introduced the Agentic AI for some of the area. They can greatly reduce the manpower involvement. For example, like the case investigation, like the credit insight analysis, report generation, even the new rule discovery and mining. So this kind of we will use the Agentic AI. And secondly, we have our own so-called domain knowledge database. So we do this business for more than 10 years. So we already accumulated a lot of the anti-fraud risk assessment expertise. So we will turn all this one into, we call it the domain knowledge database. And we make this database is real-time accessible by the Agentic AI. So by this approach, actually, we turn the general purpose agentic AI to a domain knowledge expert. So this approach design can significantly reduce the unnecessary interaction. In the same time, we can control the token usage to balance the value added, and in the same time, we keep the cost very efficiency.
Okay, that's very interesting. And there's one more thing, apart from the costing perspective, right? There's something about security as well. Because OpenClaw, an agentic AI framework, it just launched, right? It's just 5 months old. Now, the problem is that there was somebody trying to performing some kind of like a supply chain attacks, right? So basically when you're using OpenClaw, you can download a lot of skills, right, from a place, right? Then there was somebody, right, trying to put some malicious prompting into that skill, right? So when somebody is downloading that skill to use with their OpenClaw, the prompting attack begins, right? So that is happening already in the past. And there was another as well, in terms of security incidents, where a Meta security chief had her emails deleted by an AI without permissions, right? So these two things is actually considered as a security breaches and AI incidents. And I would like to know, how do you ensure that these agents stay under control, and what kind of measures that you would take in order to having a kill switch to make sure that they are not going to be, doing something that it's not supposed to do?
So actually, it's back to the use case again. Sorry, but I think it's very important for the AI and everything now, right? Even especially in agentic AI. As you say, right, agentic AI is kind of like the automation, like to let agent, right, do some tasks for you, right? So it's kind of like the way that we do for like this kind of tasks. You will allow agent to decision by approve by themselves, like the decision and reject following the confidence that AI reply to you. Or you can set the ratio to the agent to let them consider if confidence less than 50%, trigger to human in the loop in order to approve. So I think that is the way that we can design in terms of the solution to ensure that what kind of that agent purpose doing, what kind of the leaks that we cannot allow agent to decision by themselves, or what kind of the task lets agent decision, it doesn't matter. And that's one, it should be like, identified by, business process or even business owner or message, whatever. I think that's kind of the thing. And another thing now, I think every company start to using is called like the agent monitoring. That will be another way of the monitor your agent in your enterprise to see like example is same like the future we see like agent will be one of the your workforce. So agent monitoring is kind of like to monitor like not just only up and down as a technology, but to monitor that behavior, to monitor its behavior, to monitor like token usage on this, and even you can apply the standard policy into that agents. The most policy, the top hits I would say is kind of like agent must not like prompt like inject like a PII data to the through API to LM. But that policy, if you have like AI agent in your organization more than like 10 agents, so how to do that, right? So I think that's how the future of the enterprise that it requires like not just only AI agent platform, but it requires also like the AI agent governance and policy that will coming, and I think it's coming now, and some company already start to apply in some agent that start doing that work. Yeah.
Okay.
In my perspective, so when we are working with agent, we are not just working with the technology, So the technology itself, we have to protect either the infrastructure, data, or model that we are using. So we need to have the policy. Actually, we don't have it yet here in Thailand. We don't have any rule and regulation to help any company to set the policy for using the AI. We don't have it yet. And even the very most important thing, we don't have any AI governance, no, to control all of things. So the governance we don't have, the policy now we don't have. The data privacy, we have the PDPA, but we cannot force everyone to follow the rule and regulation. So everything from top down, no? We just do the technology, security, only that. Data security, still not yet. So we have a lot of things to do before using the AI in our company.
Okay. Want to add something more?
Yeah. Regarding this question, right? I want to bring you back into the issue of OpenClaw first, right? As you already said that the problem with OpenClaw is the OpenClaw does not have what we call the sandbox model for privilege, and it does not have security layers that good enough to control the asset of the enterprises. Once you open your privilege to your files and folders on your machine to OpenClaw, that means every skills can access that privilege, right? And that's a problem. So when some bad actors create a bad skills, and you use that, it opens up two things. The first thing is they try to attack the resource that's all that machine and use that resource as the base of attack into the network as is branching out, right? And the second thing is one is have what they are looking for, they can send it back to the remote server somewhere, right? And that's the kind of thing that we don't want to have in our deployment of the agentic AI scenarios. At Digital Dialogue, when we work with our clients to do the agentic AI project, and we always saying that you heard about responsibility AI and trusted AI, right? And for that framework, we developed another framework we call Trace. Trace, in the Trace framework, there are 5 characters, right? TRACE, right? That's Trace. T is mean the first thing that we believe that AI needs to be trackable. And what we means about trackability is you need to be able to trace, what kind of data that AI use, and is there any activity, maybe any backdoor activity from your AI deployment server into the wild, right? That's the first thing, right? And R is responsibilities. That means we have, in terms of technical algorithm, we have algorithm that can actually compute, how responsible the answer that AI give, right? And give that a score, so you can know, a lot of, all the times that how your AI perform, right? Accountabilities, that means once you deploy your agent, right? You need to make sure that there are some guideline in place to maintain that accountability. They should not misuse their privilege. They should not give the answer that is wrong or trying to trick someone to doing something or try to trick another server or another API to do something that they are not supposed to do, right? And C is controllable. When you deploy that, you need to make sure that if your AI go rogue, if your agent go rogue, you need to have the kill switch. And it need to be, now we heard about something like when someone trying to do experiment on a public AI, right? And they say something like, hey, I want to shut you down, and there are some false back, some resistance from the AI that, trying to please you and change your mind to not shutting them down, that sort of thing, right? In that, we cannot have that in in enterprise environment. So we need to be able to chart it, and we need to be able to control its data domains, and into the localization. If you might have heard some words about the localization of the AI, right? And that's what we need. And the last thing is that the E. That means that your AI need to be explainable. So we have again, we can calculate mathematically, statistically, how explainable your AI is using the modernized framework. So we have to make sure that every AI project that we did or are doing with our client at the moment, this Q suite frameworks is going to be in place. That's what our main priority is in controlling the AI. Yes.
Okay, so this question is specifically for both of you, all right? So usually when you are helping the customer designing digital solutions, right? You can see that sometimes organization is chasing the trends, and you foresee that there's going to be a pitfall or there's going to be a mistake that they could make. So what kind of preparations that would you recommend for these kind of customer when they want to get into the trends without thinking further ahead? And what if they saying that right now they want to adopt OpenClaw? What would you say to them?
Okay. So I think if they're keen to implement OpenClaw, right? The key thing is they are using OpenClaw for what are the purpose, right? The purpose of the OpenClaw is just technology stack, right? But actually in terms of the business side, what OpenClaw can do on that case, right? That is the one thing that I have to be asking client to verify that why you need that, or it's just the technology trends, but it could not turn to the real business benefit. And the second thing is if you consider the OpenClaw fit in that business case. The second thing is your technology readiness in terms of where do you want to run it, how many environment that you are looking for, right? And in terms of back to the previous questions, technology is application layer, right? Agent layer, data layer. Because in each use case, right, you also require the data to support the OpenClaw platform, right? OpenClaw cannot be standalone. OpenClaw is just an engine, right? So you have to identify what kind of data on that business use case that you want to run in OpenClaw, right? And a bottom right is the security part, how you ensure that that engine is running on, I would say in your private area, or even in your secured island to ensure that no any security concern, right, from the OpenClaw view. And I think that one we verify, and all in all, at the end, it should coming back with what kind of the TCO on this agent that running on OpenClaw, right? Because everything have TCO, so I think that is the way to preparation. I would say this kind of thing is it doesn't block your innovation or block your idea to use OpenClaw, but as an enterprise wise, we have to think through the kind of key bullet to at least it cover key areas that management always focusing on as a company branding, as of the company risks. I think that's kind of the thing that I would like to leave the message here.
Okay. คุณสุทธิพงศ์ครับ
For us, I think the word that you are using is chasing trends. I don't think that is the bad word, right? And everybody we need some innovations because we otherwise we're going to be leaving behind, and that's what in every CEO of every organization minds at the moment. The problem is you don't want to go head first into the unknown without any protections layers. You need to build that, right? So the thing is, in terms of if someone want to use OpenClaw doing what we call the sandbox models, try to limit the damage that's going to happen when using the bad skills or when somebody abusing the security models of the OpenClaw. You need to have that. And apart from that is let's move back into before we move into this AI craze era. We talked about our data need to be protected, our data need to be correct. So in terms of giving the most performance out of the AI and OpenClaw in particular, you need to have like security model. You need to have a data governance layer piece in place, so you can guide them into what you want them to do and what you want them to answer. And let me before I finish up with these questions, let me give you one example that is fascinating to me, right? Now, you might have heard that even Anthropic, the creator of Claude, right? They do the experiments that they deploy the Claude model to run the soft drink vending machines, and they put that up some in the office corner and let their employees walk up there and talk to AI to buy the soft drinks from that machine. The problem is within 1 hour, everybody in their office know how to trick AI to giving them free stuff. So at the end of the day, there is no money, coming out of that vending machine. They just give away the stuff. And there are one particular examples out of the Clawbot in the past is when someone tasks them with transferring, waiting for the request to transfer money and issue the transferring command to the banks, right? And they use, in this case, they use the blockchain, they use the Bitcoin and meme coins to as their money, right? And within 1 hour, somebody tricked that AI, which is maybe the most sophisticated models in the world at that time, coming from Claude, right? And within 1 hour, they tricked that AI to transfer all of their 20,000 K worth, USD worth of meme coin, of Bitcoin, out of their pockets. So this is the thing that we need to be able to control. Otherwise, we still need human in place to look after, what the AI is doing or what are they going to decide to do. Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to ask another questions to Henry, trust decisions, right? So as we know that trust decision has served many banks and e-commerce customer in the risk control field, in some highly sensitive scenarios like anti-fraud and credit risk, right? Now AI's autonomous decisions making must be very cautious. Among your 6 agents, which tasks can be fully automated and which tasks that you think must require human approval? How do you design a circuit breaker mechanisms to prevent this kind of high-risk decisions?
Okay, so as a trust decision, when we do the product design with the AI capability, we do have quite a lot of some we call it a guideline. So one of the guidelines actually is for AI, we have a very strong and tight constraint on the action capability. For example, for the traditional AI agent in our system, we only let the agentic AI to read the data, to analyze the information, to generate something report. But any critical action, during the full journey of the software into any critical action, like in our industry, like you applying or you modifying a new policy a new indicator configuration, all this one we still under the human control. It's not totally automation by the AI agent. So this is one of the approach we constrain the capability for actionable. Okay, and another thing is the end-to-end design approach. Actually, our methodology is we use AI as an assistant. It's not fully take over manual work. Let me give you an example. Our industry, the very traditional scenario is that we do the real-time decision based on some of the rule and modeling, right? So most of the job, our solution already integrates some of the Agentic AI to do some of intelligent things, automation. But in the same time, the workflow is still go the normal rule-based, normal modeling analysis to cross-verification to reduce the possible and incorrect decision like this one. And and also if you're talking about the security, right? For some of the critical scenario, especially for the enterprise, for us, we still recommend the on-premise agentic deployment to deploy the enterprise own environment to reduce the potential risk, and also you will be better control the external risk outside the environment. So this is our practice for this kind of solution. I think with the technology goes on, the new things come out, we will meet new challenge also. But fundamentally, we do have some guideline and limitation for our product design and implementation to how to use the AI technology. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. So last one to Yipin Soy, right? So right now, as you can see, the Thai small business, right, the SMEs in Thailand, have you ever faced any, interesting, right, from them in terms of, having an open claw being deployed for them? Like, what do they feel about that? Like, they want to use it, but they're still afraid, or, not knowing where to start. So, in your view?
So in my view, no?
Yeah.
So we have to learn. I think that have you heard about the news in China? No? They have request for the expert to install open call for the senior or the elderless, no? 100 yuan or 1,000 yuan. Why the China, they allow people to install those technology in their system? So I cannot answer you directly right now. I think that our SME still don't have any idea how to use it. They can play with it, but they don't know what is the effect after using the open system, put in their computer and do everything. They can do everything. They have no guardrail. They have no limit of using token. We cannot ask the people to learn those kind of technology at this time. So we have to learn from China at this moment. So they start to using the open claw. And the government also asks the people by providing the cloud to put the open claw in the cloud, and they can control it. I think that this is the good decision, no? Before we are taking a risk on those technology. So we have to learn. I don't have the answer right now.
Okay, all right. So that is all the questions from me today to our honored partner here. So let's say thank you to our partners for an insightful conversations today. I think a lot of people here has learned how to use, AI or agentic AI in your company, as well as what kind of thoughts that you have to make, what kind of considerations that you have to think about before you even adopting this AI into your day-to-day process, right? So thank you very much.